Hello again. The story continues, part two. So on returning from London, where I'd written many letters, hoping that the beauty of the ideas might somehow create some sort of stirring, not much had happened. It was Thatcher's Britain. Everyone was either fighting against her and the poll tax or engaging in the massive explosion in the markets that was occurring with the advent of the internet and connected cities. The explosion of the international money market, where all of a sudden digital communications technologies had made instantaneous trades possible 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days of the year, anywhere on the face of the globe. People were making money, and our rights, our civic and political rights, were not high on the agenda. You were either in the game making a squillion or trying to get into that game and make a squillion. And the age of greed is good. So I returned to Australia and I returned to a life and worked at what I did, met a wonderful woman, had 2 beautiful children all the time, worried about that thought that was implanted in my head. I keep this up about talking about politics. Where's it going to end? What's going to happen? Am I going to leave children as orphans? A wife as a widow? It wasn't great. It didn't help in my thinking about things. I also went through a whole lot of personal human struggles. I'm human after all. The message is not me. It's just something that was given, downloaded. So I moved on, and in about 2001, after doing lots of writing and stuff about this, set off on a campaign called Vote Dave, which was based in the West Australian state government election. So a friend of I ran in that election under that banner, and I discovered that I'm a terrible campaigner, primarily because I hate public performance by me. I'm not a great performer, a natural one at all. I was in a band for 2 years, and after I left the band, many people asked what I'd done, and I told them I'd been in a band, and they said they didn't have a keyboard player, but that was me. I was the invisible keyboard player. So you can understand I didn't have a really great persona. So Vote Dave, my friend Dave did pretty well. And our principle was based on a very simple process of, Dave, digital analog vote enabler. We were kind of working on trying to create a political identity without creating a political party, which at that stage the Australian Electoral Commission had a rule that said you could be run in an election under a name you were known under in the community. So Dave and I both became Dave. And our policy platform was pretty simple. There was only one policy. We wanted to bring in direct representative democracy to the people that elected us using the tools described. It was probably spectacularly unsuccessful. We really didn't get anywhere. We were kind of doomed not to. I mean, the only press interview that we could get was a hatchet job by the West Australian newspaper, who basically led us down the garden path thinking, oh yeah, well, they'll give us an honest run if we're honest and open with them. But no, it was a sub-editor's hatchet job, burying it amongst the strange antics of, I don't know, other fringe type politics that had nothing really to do with political evolution, but some sort of strange, I don't know, bouncing yogis party. So that didn't really go anywhere. I was a bit disheartened by that, and then progressed on and thought, okay, well, maybe I need to look around, because the world was expanding in terms of communication, and I began to see green shoots of other organisations around the world with similar aspirations. And one of them was here in Australia. It was the Online Direct Democracy Party, which had formerly been called Senator Online, which had been running a federal campaign. So I hooked in with them for a while, and that was very enlightening to me, in that it highlighted the issue with party structures, and that eventually all decision comes back to a hierarchy as to how it should proceed and what should happen. One of the good things that did occur out of that process was that they had a social media presence. It wasn't very big when we started, but at one point, the man who had been running that page, tragically for him, got very ill with cancer, so he had to take a bit of a break. So I put my hand up to say, okay, well, I'd like to take it on. So I thought I'd try a bit of a radical experiment, and that was to bring on board as diverse a range of contributors as possible, and task them with some simple rules, which was, if you post something up, then you take responsibility for the content. So you take responsibility for the veracity of that information, and you engage with the comments that flow from that, to the point that you must ensure that anyone participating will not be harmed by that interaction with the group, the page. And with that, a group of us set off and we started. And after a month or two, we had grown quite spectacularly. And for me, it was an interesting journey leading that, because again, it was about moving beyond the echo chamber of normal politics, because we were claiming to be a democratic party representing everyone's interests. So I really did want to move away from the impression and the actual delivery of what was at that time very left-leaning commentary on our posts. You know, I'm kind of left-leaning, if you need to understand that. I believe in the power of community and of cooperation. I think competition is a bit of a cancer. Small amounts of it, like alcohol, can be good. Too much of it, disastrous, as we're seeing in the world around us. But you know, that left-leaning slant wasn't representing everyone in Australia. So I took to, rather than banning people, because we were getting quite a few of the right-wing people coming on board, because it was the start of Trump's ascent to power. So there was a lot of that really right of centre, very activated, very opinionated phalanx of people coming on board. And initially it was a bit harsh, because they just get in there and try to bash people, literally, or club them with their words and insults and gifs and memes and all the other crap that they can dredge up. But I persisted, and I said to them, no, you can come on, you're welcome to be on this page, you're welcome to express your opinions, but you need to be respectful. This is a place for conversation. If you want to put your arguments, put your arguments. I really don't mind. You're quite welcome to post here. So they did, and I started exploring their world, which is how I got to see some of the underbelly of the right wing, and especially out of America, the whole horrible world that was being developed under Trumpian politics, the great fantasy, the great delusion that so many people were swallowing whole and unthinkingly, a reaction of hatred rather than any form of positive contribution to life. With that, it was possible then to start to have conversations with these people and question their ideologies, their thoughts, their posts. And it was all going really well. Our traffic increased thousands of fold. We went from being some little, sort of 300 hits a week. So we were pushing thousands of hits after our little run. Unfortunately, just as I was about to bring on board some of those right-wing people to be active and ongoing contributors, The owner of the page returned from his health sabbatical and had an apoplectic attack on all of these right-wing nut jobs. He didn't want them on the page. He didn't want to have a diversity of opinion. He didn't want to have a conversation. He didn't want to engage with everyone. He was an out-and-out Marxist who just wanted to have Marxist opinions and socialist type views on this page. And that's something I couldn't stand by and stand with. In a democracy, as we were purporting to promote, we needed to have a diversity of opinions. We needed to engage with and appeal to everyone. We can't ban people. We couldn't ban them all into existence. Unlike the political parties of today and their agents who do exactly that. Their entire social media strategy is about shutting down all negative opinion and just creating a little fan club, a little bubble of happiness around their candidates, an entirely false world. I went on to run as a candidate for ODP. It wasn't successful again because I didn't have the heart for it. I was already feeling very, very disheartened about what I discovered running all of that side of it, and increasing doubts about the structural integrity of the place. After I lost my deposit for the second time, I thought, okay, I need to pull back for a bit. Waited a little bit more, and then I thought, well, maybe I just come up with Pollee. So Pollee was born, and it's still going today, chugging along, bumping along. It's done nothing spectacular. It's hard to organise. And, unfortunately, we live in a world of really constrained media. Our ABC, supposedly the public broadcaster, can you get a word in with them? Nah. They are just enthralled like, I don't know, Stockholm Syndrome candidates. They are in love with their captor. You just have to listen to the dribble that passes for commentary, the sycophancy and the hagiography that is something like the party room. It's terrible. And it leaves me depressed, thinking that these people believe that somehow they could see a paradigm shift and understand it. Radio National, I don't think you can. You're too much in love with the drama. You're too much a part of the system. And Australia is sicker for that, sadly. So yeah, here we are. Me putting out these little videos in the hope that someone will listen. Maybe you will, maybe you won't. It just depends what you want. Do you want to have a future? Do you want to do something good for Christmas? Give your kids a future. Tell them about democracy. Become part of a democracy. Make the change that gives them hope, that gives them a future. See ya.